Guys, are you ready? This is going to be one of the biggest weeks of Fortnite in its history, with only a week and a half to go until Season 9 starts. This week we should be seeing not one, but two huge in-game events, which will actually put you guys in control and is just going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be seeing it down to you guys, down to your vote, the return of a vaulted item or weapon of our choice coming back to the game all through a live event. Oh boy, guys, it's going to be crazy. We've got details on both of these events. On top of that, also what's new to Fortnite this week in its updates, and also a little bit of a talk as to about whether or not Fortnite will ever revert and give us health and mats upon kills back into the game. We've got a jam-packed video. If you're not already, hit subscribe. Make sure you give the video a big fat thumbs up if you're going to enjoy it. And without further ado, we're just going to get straight into the info. First up, this week's new item is going to be the Shadow Bomb, or the Shadow Nade, essentially giving you the effects of a Shadow Cube in a portable device, a little bit like the Rift to Go allows you to rift wherever you want. This will allow you to actually turn yourself, or I assume other people as well, into what was known as the Shadow Cube effect, where you'd go like semi-invisible, you can rush around the map, and is a really good way for traversing and moving fast and quick. That'll probably be out tomorrow, or if not, a few days away. Very, very close, and is cool, exciting, but nowhere near as exciting as more things we've got to talk about. Now, as we know, we've got our very first official Black Widow skin in the Fortnite store. There should be a second one on the way in the form of Star-Lord, who should be out tonight in the store if the leakers are correct about their timings. And as always, a big shout out to you, everyone using code ALIA in the Fortnite item store. If you're using my code, you can get a shout out like all of these guys. So keep an eye on the store tonight for the second official Marvel skin in Fortnite. Now, Fortnite have come out and given an official statement about whether or not they'll ever be reverting the standard playlist to give you health and mats upon kills. Now, I know, having covered many games over the years, that developers always have the most amount of details and stats and numbers when it comes to any of these changes. And the reason that Fortnite were very quiet, I assumed, is because they had numbers to back up their reasoning for not doing anything. And that's exactly what they've come out and said. Fortnite have officially said that when they went ahead and actually added in the ability to get health and mats upon kills, it benefited the top 10% of players also, but the 90% of other players were not only not enjoying it as much, but actually playing Fortnite for less time. As a developer, as someone that is making the game, you want people to be playing as long as possible and obviously having as much fun as possible. And if a change is only benefiting 10% of their player base, then you can see why they went ahead and took those changes out of the game. It's really unfortunate. Obviously, you can still get these effects in the competitive arena mode, but the fact it's not going to come back to standard modes probably ever is a big, for me at least, a big sad point. But there you go, that is Fortnite's official statement on that point. Okay, now into in-game events. We've got two bigger ones. Number one being the Volcano, which, as we know, with each placement of a rune around Loot Lake, has got more and more volcanic, more and more ready to ultimately erupt and cause a heck of a lot of damage to the world of Fortnite. The second event is the actual rune event itself, and whatever will take place live at the dig site, at the Loot Lake bunker, once eventually it is ready to activate and for all of us to experience. Now, I believe these two could be separate events that could happen at different times potentially, or could all happen at one time, but either way we're going to be covering both of them because they're both huge. Now, the first one, as we know, if you guys have seen my video on this channel a few days ago, is ultimately the Volcano, and its eruption will cause huge damage to the map. Number one being Tilted. Yes, Tilted will actually be destroyed and flattened from the debris, from the magma, from the lava, from all the volcanic matter that will come out of the volcano, literally flattening it. On top of that, that'll happen to Retail Row 2, two of the biggest landing spots in Fortnite, changing the scape of the island of Fortnite literally forever. Now, looking at the Volcano, after the fourth rune has been put in place, it is literally just throwing out soot, throwing out lava into the air, getting ready for eventually what will be the final eruption. Now, the fourth rune, if you guys missed it because it was over literally like that, was essentially a dance floor that appeared near Loot Lake, near Pleasant Park, and actually saw a dance floor with a rune near it, and we needed to make the dance floor all one colors, and the event was over, I think, in like 20-30 minutes. Really disappointing that both the third and fourth rune event happened so quickly, but it does mean there's only one more rune to go, the fifth rune, until it ultimately is here on the map for us to complete, go into its slot, and ultimately activate all of the events that are going to finish off this season. Now, in terms of timings of what is about to happen with the Loot Lake event and the Volcano event, this is how I believe it's going to be broken up. I believe that the 5th rune should appear Tuesday, tomorrow, this week, and could be completed fairly quickly, ultimately slotting into its place and causing a live event with the volcano erupting, damaging the areas of the map that we know are going to be affected, and causing those in-game changes, which gives us a little bit of time before Season 9 kicks off to just experience these changes, see the volcano cause all of its damage, and ultimately be a really, really cool in-game event. However, the biggest, the live, the interactive part of this live event, I've got so much detail and it is honestly crazy because yes, it will see the return of a vaulted item or weapon, all down to your choice, back into the game. So you're probably thinking, how on earth is one of these vaulted items or weapons going to come back to the game? What do you mean, Ali? What's going on? Well, for those of you guys who have been paying attention to Loot Lake, and not just the ruins, but around Loot Lake, there's actually a building with several monitors inside of it. And those monitors over the last few days have started to actually show pictures. The first monitor shows a split up version, but it is ultimately what is the bouncer item or the bouncer trap, which was in the game. What's recently just appeared is actually the Tommy gun, or the Thompson, what's it actually called in this game? I'm so used to calling it the Tommy gun, the drum gun. And on top of that, there is going to be 4 more images with 4 more items. However, I can show you what they're going to look like right now. Again, thanks to Fort Tory, and bear in mind these are leaks. This will be part of the in-game event, a part of the process where we decide which of these items actually end up returning, which will also all be linked in with the ultimate final event at Loot Lake. Essentially, we'll see these big streams of light, each containing one of these items, and we can actually choose as a community, cast our own vote as to what we want to see come back, and ultimately the one that's picked the most and voted on the most will be the item that returns to the game leading into Season 9. Now, we haven't seen many things vaulted or returned from the vault in a long time. For Season 8 specifically, it's been quite slow and dry for that. However, we've got the chance of ultimately the most fan favorite items coming back, and you guys can vote right now in the comment section because I know what all 6 of the votes will be. Are you going to be voting for 1, the drum gun, 2, the bouncer, 3, the tactical SMG, 4, the grappler, 5, the sword, or 6, the plane? One of those will be a part of the vote for the live event, allowing us to have it come back into the game. Now, having known what these items have been, my initial reaction was always going to be drum gun. You know how much I love that. However, we have seen that return within the actually unvaulted mode recently, along with pretty much all of these things have been in the game at some point recently, but this will be brought back into the core mode, an item you can pick up in a normal game, solo, duo, squads. However, the bouncer is such a good movement item. It's so good for gaining high ground, it's so good for getting around the map, and I also love the TAC SMG. It's also a disgustingly good SMG as well. So for me, there'd only be 3 choices, either the drum gun, bouncer, or TAC. If I had to vote, you know what? I'm gonna go drum gun. I love that thing. My vote is gonna be on drum gun, but what would your vote be? Now, obviously, we can't gauge or guess exactly how the whole community will vote during this event, but we can get an idea. So you guys can leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking, and we can start to gauge what we think people are going to vote for. If we see a comment which is the same as yours and the same choice, feel free to upvote it, and we can see which ones are rated highly within the comment section as well. This is just going to be a part of the live in-game event. For those guys that don't know, literally tens and tens of minutes of audio files have been found, lining up to be what will ultimately be one of the longest live in-game events ever. Now, if my times are correct, these live events always happen on a weekend because people are at home, they've got the most free time, and it allows as many people as possible to actually engage and watch for themselves these live events. Now, potentially with the volcanic event happening as early as this week, during the week, Tuesday or so, this live event, I believe, will be counted down essentially, with each of those monitors adding in what will ultimately show all 6 of these items that I just told you guys, with the live event kicking off this Saturday, meaning that just literally 4 or 5 days before the season ends, all of this will kick off. So you've got to make sure you've got some spare time on Saturday, or obviously I'll be live streaming it right here on my channel, because I think live streaming these events is by far the most fun and interactive ways for me to do it. And I just, especially if there's a voting involved, I mean, we can all get involved. It's all going to be amazing. So if you do miss it, or you are a little bit busy, or you know you're going to be away this weekend, I have got you guys covered, and I cannot wait for it all to happen. Obviously the voting portion will be a section of it. We know there's classic music in there, which is going to play at some point within the live event as well. There's theories going around that we could be teleported back in time, teleported forward in time, and potentially the damage that we see to Tilted Towers, if we do go back in time, would then be reversed even to a point where Tilted Towers doesn't even exist in the map. There's so many theories going around, but what we do know is this can be one of the biggest, craziest, hugest, not only live event, but ending to a season in Fortnite ever, and I cannot wait. Shout out again to everyone using code ALIA. There'll be more shout outs on screen here. Keep an eye on the store for the new Star-Lord Avengers Marvel themed skin coming too. We've got this week's update with obviously the Shadow Bomb 2. So much happening, so much craziness. Make sure you subscribe. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed all of this early access information. And stay tuned for all the events covered right here on the channel. I cannot wait. It's going to be crazy.